I mean, he gives good advice, but he gets one shot.
Stand aside.
He's like the guy in Diablo 3 who's like about to carry you through a really hard fucking rift, a greater rift, and he forgets to put his gear on. I got this.
Wrecked.
It's like when you forget to pop your rad axe.
Wow.
Love has 99 fucking lives.
He had 99 lives, and at the end, it's -5.
No, it was. I think it was supposed to be like 0.5. I don't know.
No, it was -5.
Was it?
Yeah.
Alright. I just can't read.
He got wrecked so hard it just went to the negatives.
Because it wasn't a dot, it was a strike.
Goddamn. Really? Really, Val? You have the cat and it's wearing a MAGA hat? Come on, bro. Really?
Kawaii.
Oh my
That's
God.
it.
Is this make anime great again?
Make anime great again.
What the hell, guys? It got really quiet. Are y'all alright?
Oh, wait. Here's a
I'm
picture for you
alright.
guys. Alright, there you go, lad. Enjoy that. Well, everyone enjoy that.
I'm pretty sure I've seen this before. Yeah, I've seen this.
Stop sparkling, my son.
Edward, just stop sparkling, my son. Yep.
Actually, vampires couldn't even live in moonlight because moonlight is just a reflection of the sunlight.
You know what's weird? That oddly came up in VTM.
BTM.
VTM.
Yeah, that's what I said. BTM.
V.
VTM. Okay.
Vampire the Masquerade.
God damn it. Always with the fucking flex tape.
I saw this freezer in half.
Your princess is another castle, but you can stay.
Oh, is that Bowsette?
Yeah, more Bowsette memes. Nah, dude. No. Listen. You know, Bowsette. Really kicky, you know. It's not. You know, I'm sorry, Mario, but your princess is in another dungeon. But you can stay here with me if you want.
Holy moly.
Yep.
I mean, if I was Mario, I would take it. I'd be
Apparently,
like,
Bowsette is
no.
going to be. Apparently, Bowsette is going to be canon. By the way.
Yeet.
Cannon.
Yeah.
And now all we have to do is do that for everyone's OC.
It's Basil Goose time. No Basil Goose. No. What?
It's Betelgeuse time! I love the fucking music when Basil Geese shows up. Oh my god. Yes.
Knuckles.
He has
makes
found.
sense.
And what I post next is light level character development.
Oh my
It's Basil
god!
Goose
I can't
time.
wait to see what it is. What?
Hmm.
What? What is this?
I don't know.
Well, this on the bottom is basically Peach when she saw how Mario fawns over Bowsette.
Oh, she becomes all depressed and shit.
Not
Yep.
depressed. Forest.
I don't know, man. She looks pretty depressed, if you ask me. But
Malevolent
okay.
Peach.
Malevolent Peach.
So I'm wondering, has Uganda Knuckles found a way, or the queen,
The
or
way,
were they one and the same?
the
all
way
along?
was the crown.
This. What?
The way was the queen. How could I not have known this? What the fuck is that?
That's Devil Joe, aka Murder Pickle.
That is the angriest pickle. The angriest pickle that could.
God, where's Demise at, man?
Well,
It's
I
from
don't
Monster
know.
Hunter.
Hey, by the way, Val, are we recording this as well again?
Oh, was I supposed to announce that?
Oh, we've been recording this whole time. Okay.
I have.
Oh God, these poor people. if Val doesn't like take out the first however many minutes of he's been recording, they're gonna have to listen to all of these memes.
Right?
And the
Wait,
viewers will have no idea what we were talking about.
I have some dank memes right here. Get ready.
How is this? Okay.
Oh. Damn.
It's Ultra Instinct. How's that? Clearly.
Sure. Okay. Believe it. What? Okay.
Yeah, basically this all started with the crown.
It was a bad idea.
You'll get this one.
And now we're gonna see it on Mario, I bet.
You'll get this one, Cedric.
I'm eager to see.
Hmm.
You just have to pay attention to what's going on in the image.
What the fuck kind of a weapon is that?
Oh, my friend's using a gun lance. I'm the scantily clad chick using the great sword.
That's a sword? Looks like a fucking mace.
Yeah.
Basically, a good bit of the actual weapon is stuck in the ground at this moment.
Oh, I see.
Because I just finished a true charge slash in that image.
So we had. Wait. Did that Gunlance user just finish his Wyvern?
Yes. So it looks like he has like explosive diarrhea. It's great.
Oh.
Here's
Oh,
one.
okay, now I get it. Wait, let me look that weapon up for you.
So while we're waiting, is there any questions? Anything we need to talk about before we actually get into the game?
Not really.
Might as well get that done
Also,
with.
this is the weapon he was using in the picture light.
Alright.
This is a great sword.
Oh, I see that. It doesn't look like such a great sword.
Yeah, what's the game where everything has to look ridiculous?
Thought it was
Basically, this little bit of metal at the bottom. This thing is about the size of a dumbbell.
Yup.
The plates on a dumbbell.
It kind of reminds me of. Let me show you guys an image. The image address.
You would need the torque of a race car to even lift this thing.
Your message is too
no,
long. God damn.
You know what we're getting on the 4th for PC, Cedric?
Huh?
No, we're fucking getting
What?
rocket powered great sword.
Fuck yeah.
Reminds me of a bigger version of that.
Yeah, we're getting the rock powered. We're getting the rock powered great sword.
Basically it is an homage to them because basically it's the bones and the teeth and the hide of a Devil Joe.
Neat. Did you guys know that obsidian is so sharp that it can cut on a molecular level?
Yes.
It depends on how you fletch it, but yeah.
Oh, cut.
That's what we're getting on the 4th.
The problem is
etc.
it's so hard and it can be forged into such a fine blade. The problem is it's too
Fragile.
hard. It isn't flexible enough.
You do
etc.
realize
For
it's
example, the black sword from Kirito in SAO is apparently made from obsidian. If that blade really was made out of obsidian, you could break it with a rubber mallet.
Yep. You could break. You could probably, if you were strong enough, just break it with your fist.
You
Yeah.
do realize
Break
it's
it just
just
by moving it
imperfect
incorrectly.
glass.
Yeah.
So, by the way, if you want to reference how big the Rocket Pirate's greatsword is, here you go.
Monster Hunter. Where every weapon is ridiculous.
That's how big the Rocket Pirate's greatsword is.
Yeah, but you have to. But just to give you a little hint, the weapons in Monster Hunter World are pretty tame in comparison to what the game really has to offer.
Man, if that sword were actually that big, and like you would, I'm pretty sure it would. I don't even know what would happen. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm just trying to imagine. Like, do the rockets activate when you start to swing it, or?
Basically, when you put it behind you and start charging it, these rockets,
On the 3rd
these
charge proc, it'll
thrusters-
go off.
these thrusters start to wind up, and if you complete the charge, they start to propulse to give you more to the actual swing.
Yeah, on how it works is on the 3rd charge, well, on the 3rd charge proc, the rockets go off, and then that's when they activate.
Mm.
Which, in theory, if you're hitting someone, if you have enough strength to lift that thing up, and you add it with its weight alone, you're already gonna kill someone. If you add in the power of a rocket to back up the upper part of the sword, no, you're gonna fucking decimate. It won't even
Also,
be there.
this is a weapon as well.
Bagpipe?
It's called the hunting horn.
The hunting horn's amazing.
To give you a little hint on the dimensions of this thing, this is the Teostra version.
Yo, Costa. And we get the Rock Pirate Greatsword on the
Okay,
4th.
so
And we get the Autumn Festival for PC on
okay, so Demise is not going to be able to make it for this. That's okay. That would make sense for his character to not be present.
Death by Snoo.
I was thinking more like his injury is so great that he loses consciousness.
Well,
Incapacitation by Snoo.
Incapacitation by Snoo. Yes.
yes, let's go with incapacitation by Snoo.
Anyways, so we can begin as soon as you guys are ready. You guys ready?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
ready.
I was born ready!
I'm
Oof.
always angry.
Oh, is that the secret? Anyways, okay. So
That was in character, by the way.
we begin back at the ship. Matt, did you ever decide a name for your character, by the way?
You should let me know about that. So when I'm writing in the event development thing,
So when
I
you're
cannot
riding
say
him,
the pilot. Yeah, I cannot say the pilot. I could say a name.
Yeah,
I can just call him the pilot, you know?
Alright, one second, let him think.
It's Yuri Rosenberg.
Yuri, okay. Alright.
Terrible person.
What?
Why not give him a normal last name, like Kakarov?
No.
Kakarot?
No. Carrot cake?
Alright, so,
Carrot cake.
anyways, if that's your name,
You are no Super Sand.
Yuri, they went off into the forest, looking for the inhabitants of the underworld.
In the distance, fellow nagging at Alina for not lifting the dress so it doesn't get dragged to the mud.
Anyways, leaving you and the guardsman that you had
Wilhelm.
at the prison, Wilhelm, to guard the ship, to hold down the fort. You've been doing your repairs on the ship. You can tell it's going to take a while. And then you go and you check on the condition of the Madrite core, the thing that powers your vessel, that allows the motor to spin and gives you your speed. And your heart just sinks as you notice just the entire crystal is just cracked. It's just useless. You know now that if you're gonna have this vessel be airworthy, you're gonna have to find a replacement crystal. But you know, there is a bright side. I mean, at least this happened in the place where, you know, Madrite is most replete. You know, the underworld is absolutely filled with this stuff, you've heard. So it shouldn't be too difficult to find something, right?
Or so they say.
Or so they say. At that time, that's when you hear up above. You hear Wilhelm.
Wilhelm.
You hear Wilhelm just. It's like, you know, just like what, and then you just hear like a single shot from his shotgun, and then everything goes like dead quiet, and you can hear the tapping of feet across the deck of the ship above you. It seems
Right.
someone or something has made its way onto your vessel.
Where are the other drugs going? Better not hurt Wilhelm. Well, better not hurt him. I'm gonna call him big.
All right, guys, come on.
What do you do?
So
Young
what do you do,
pirate?
Yuri?
Wait, isn't that a girl's name?
No, it's actually a guy's name.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe go to someone else for a minute.
Okay. We'll switch scenes then. So back to the main group. We left off, and you had just finished off the wolves. And you notice the sound of many different footsteps just all around you, just closing in. And you look around, and you see these glowing eyes, and dozens of these weirds, the natives of the Underworlds, presumably, just surround you. They appear to be wearing rather primitive sort of clothing, made from like animal skins, furs, hides, that sort of thing. Though, what surprises you about this is that they have actual weapons, like guns, firearms, and they're pointed right at your group. One of them, you presume sort of the leader of this party, he approaches, right? This one has just red eyes, nothing too special. And he sort of like points the gun at you, and it's like a rifle, and he's like, ugh, and he sort of like gestures up to, presumably, you think he's asking for you to put your hands up.
I raise my hands above my head, walk up front to him, and say, "Good day. My name is Othello Crawford."
As soon as you start to speak, he just like takes the butt of his gun and just slams it straight into.
I had a way to prevent this, by the way.
Well, what would you do?
I say, before, like right when he started walking up, Elena is going to grab him by the back of his shirt and yank him back and be like, just don't.
All right.
Are you serious, Alina?
I look at him and I say, I look at you and I say, we're outnumbered. I don't really want you making them mad by accident.
Do you have any idea how to handle politics?
Do you have
I
any
thought-
idea if
I
these
just
people
cut
know
her
what
off.
politics are?
I just cut her off. I thought so.
As you're having this argument, Val, from back, because you weren't actually with the main group, you're just peering through your sniper rifle, and you notice, what is occurring. What's going through your mind? How are you taking this?
Hold until ready to fire.
Okay. Going back then. So Escalon, he speaks up and he's like, I think it would be wise for you to just hold your tongue for a moment. Your words would be in vain anyway. I don't think they can understand you.
Alina?
Who said that? Wait, who said that?
Escalon.
Alina, walk up to them. Maybe they will be more welcoming to you since you are one of their kind.
I kind of just nod, and I'm like, I suppose that's our best shot. So I look at the person with my hand still raised up, and I just kind of, just in the nicest way Elena could say it, I say like, I say, God, what am I trying to say here? God, I'm having a
You
brain
have to
fart.
say words.
I know, right? I'm trying to think of words to say. No, I kind of say, I say like, look, we mean you no harm. You can understand us. You can understand me, right?
He looks at you for a moment. This man, he looks at you, and his eyes just go wide as he stares at you for a moment. And he turns back and he says something unintelligible to the rest of the people around him, and they all begin to like crowd in close, and they're just like staring straight at you.
Can you maybe tell me, how does this unintelligible thing sound? Like, is he surprised? Is he scared? Is he angry?
He
Is he in
seems
awe?
he
Like-
seems very surprised about something. You're not exactly sure what. Maybe it's the fact that Elena is a wide eye. Maybe it's just the fact that Elena isn't weird at all. You're not exactly sure what he's surprised about.
Could be because she's a woman.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything's possible at this point.
Hey, look. I don't know if that's valid. Elena got it from somebody.
Anyways, a few of them, they go over to what was his name? Kadi. They go over to Kadi, and they sort of like kick him a little bit, see if he's awake. He doesn't respond. He seems to have lost consciousness in all of this. And
God
they
damn
grab
it, thief!
they grab his arms and they begin to like drag him. The rest of the weirds, they gesture for you to follow them.
I look at the group and I'm like, follow me, I guess.
They seem a little bit less hostile.
I follow them. I don't know if anyone else is following me, but I follow.
I keep
Okay,
my
I
beat
follow.
and follow.
Alright, so Val, you're in the back, just like creeping along, trying to keep up. Alright. Let's switch back to Matt. Did you decide how you're going to approach this, Matt?
What's going on exactly again?
So, you're just going around the ship, just assessing the damage, repairing what you can. You heard above you on the top deck, Wilhelm fire off a single shot, and then everything went really quiet. And now you're hearing the sounds of footsteps moving around on the top of the ship. Many footsteps, in fact.
Yeah, I think you should just turn my character.
What's going on?
I think you should just turn my character into a T, or just kill him off or whatever.
Why?
What's going on, man?
I just, not really into it. Sorry.
Okay. I mean, I don't really know what to say.
God damn it, man.
No, it's fine. If you have to go or whatever, just step out, man. It's fine. If you could, though, just PM me what exactly is going on or whatever. I'd like to know.
Huh? Saw my name in the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you later, man.
Wait, is Val leaving or is Matt leaving?
Matt.
No, Matt is.
Matt is leaving.
The fuck?
Okay, that was odd.
Just NPC him. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. So then we're not even gonna switch over to him.
Well, that was out
Hey,
of nowhere.
Right?
Yeah, I had to say I have never actually had something like that happen.
Is he out completely now, or?
I don't know. Trying to find out what was going on exactly. Anyways, let's continue. It's fine. At worst, I just have another NPC, so it's not a big deal. So continuing on, you follow you're escorted back to the village of these people, and you're greeted almost like this older man. He approaches you. You're not exactly sure what sort of his role is. Maybe he's the leader of these people or something of that nature. He appears to be quite old, but he walks over to you at a sort of like slower pace, and he looks at you, Elena, right? And he just sort of like almost like gasped, like as he sets his eyes upon you. He begins to like walk forward, a hand outstretched, and he says, "Miko."
I also need a. Would Elena be captured before she was actually named, or no?
I would say, well, that's up to you. Were you captured? How old were you when you were captured? How much would you really remember?
I'd probably say before, probably by when she was 1 or something, but even then, I don't think she would remember.
Captured, kidnapped, also such harsh words. I prefer surprise adoption.
Surprise
Surprise.
adoption?
Anyways, continuing on. So,
I was going to say probably she's taken it 1 years old. But even at that, she wouldn't remember the name because you can't remember things that age, generally speaking.
So yeah, this man seems like he knows you
Yeah,
somehow.
tilt my head. I'm like, you
know this guy?
looks generally confused. Like,
He turns around and he calls for someone. He just B, and
Rush!
this other woman runs up. You can tell she too is a weird, but unlike the other weirds, she looks at you, and she sort of just like wears this just wide grin. Oh, I didn't think. Wow, and you can tell she speaks your tongue. Well, this is unexpected. What brings you?
Your tongue.
Yeah, I was from Gigaias before I came down here.
Oh, you did. Well, let us introduce ourselves. Where are our manners? My name is Othello Crawford, and this is my partner, Alina. Nice to make your acquaintance. Please tell these kind people that we mean no harm to them.
She shakes her head rather. Right. And then she begins to translate to the older man. Sort of like just stops her mid sentence, and he replies in this sort of like sounds very like rough, the language they're sort of speaking. And she turns back. He says that he doesn't really care whether you come in peace or not. He wants to know what you want, why you're here.
Well, do you want the long or the short version?
Say it wide. What do they look like exactly?
Like the individual characters?
Yeah. Like, what does the old man and the woman look like?
Okay. The older man, he's got a very, like, sort of just wrinkled sort of look about him. He has, I'll say, the violet eyes of the weird. His hair is, yeah, go ahead.
I'm imagining the old guy from Atlantis.
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. The other woman seems much more youthful. You think she's no older than her mid-20s at best. She has brown.
Because Elena at the moment's trying to piece together why they're so shocked to see her. Is there like any resemblance in her face and her own? Because she's aware she was from the Underdark. What the fuck?
Underworld.
Underworld. I was thinking about D&D, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Underdark came into my head for some strange reason. Lied you there?
Yeah, 1 second.
It's being replied to.
You know, my picture of this guy fits pretty well because the Atlanteans carry these crystals around their necks.
Oh. Yeah, I was about to get. That's a good resemblance, actually. I like that movie too. It's a good one.
Would be even funnier if Alina looked like Kida.
Kida.
Okay, continuing on. You can't really see too much of a resemblance to anyone in the village per se. Fuck, I'm so. Oh my god. Sorry, guys. This session just started off.
Honestly,
really weirdly.
just forget that it ever happened. Like he's not interested apparently. Don't let it bog you down. It's whatever we can enjoy it. We can personally enjoy it.
Well,
It's fine.
that's easier said than done. But anyway, we'll continue on. Okay.
Pretend like he was never here to begin with.
Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Like he
Okay.
didn't show up at all.
Because trust me,
So
I
continuing
am
on.
frustrated too about it. But
Continuing on, though. Continuing on. So,
there's no real resemblance. Well,
Yeah,
there's no
there's-
notable resemblance between Elena and the woman at this point.
no. Besides, she said... Never mind. Anyways, continuing on, as you're, chatting, trying to, explain, the old man's voice becomes much more, like, pressing. He sort of, like, grabs the woman by the shoulder and, like, gets her attention, and he points his sort of, like, staff. Why not? He's got a staff picture, right? Straight towards you, and, he says again the same phrases he said before. And, she translates, he really, really wants to know why you're here. And what
And
is
as
it
I
that you
said,
want?
do you want the long or the short version?
Just whatever version you think is best to say. And she says, I would be kind of careful what you say, though.
Okay, my
I-
granddad got shot. The Farsonians now think they're the biggest dicks in the universe. And now we're down here because we were shot down and not being eaten by a giant thunderbird.
After you say that, I kind of just... I kind of walk up to the woman and I say, we're down here to get help because the enemy, would it be a nation technically? Would Farso be an enemy nation?
At this
Yes.
point, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that the enemy nation has killed off our current leader. We were shot down here, and well, our friend Escalon here has recruited us per se to come find help down here.
Right, and Escalon, he sort of agrees with your story. He closes his one eye that you can see, and he nods his head. That is correct.
Well, whether or not he's a friend is still up for debate. And I look at him.
He sort of
Menacingly.
looks towards you with a slight smile. I see you're taking well to my advice, then. Anyways, B, she says, right, well, I'll just... And she turns back towards the man, and she explains, as well as she can, with sort of, like, very, expressive with her, like, facial expressions and her hand motions as she sort of, like, translates this. She clasps her hands together at several points, and the old man, he looks towards you. Looks towards B. Towards you guys. Looks towards B. And he says something to B, again. And she fuck. I can't talk right now. She's at the... Oof. Well, that's good.
What-
She...
What's up?
She says to you, well, he's agreed not to have you immediately, and that you will face a fair trial.
What are the charges against us?
She sort of, like, looks at you for a second. She raises an eye. She's like, are you serious?
After you say that, I kind
I
of
am
just...
serious. Please explain.
Okay. She asks, their leader once more, what are the, you're assuming what are the charges is what she's asking. And, he gets very upset at this point, right? And he points his staff at Elena, and then he points his staff at you and just begins just shouting just at the top of his lungs. right? And he almost goes to like just strike you, but
Strike
at
you,
the
Othello or Elena?
I don't
Othello.
even flinch.
Othello. He goes to like strike Othello with the staff, but he stops like halfway, and you see him. He closes his eyes and releases a deep sort of sigh. He says something else to B for a moment, and then
Actually, when he goes to try to strike him, and I'm not 100% sure if that's a real one or not, I'm gonna fire off a round.
all right,
Oh.
go ahead.
I rolled a 3, so I figure I misinterpreted it.
Yeah, okay. Is that for your shot being fired, or
No, to see if I would.
so? Are you firing or not?
I am.
Okay.
26.
Oh, oh my
You
God.
shoot the staff in half.
All right. Here's what I'm thinking. Trying to think. What would you like to happen? Do you want to shoot this guy, or is this like a warning shot? What exactly are you doing?
You know what would be the most ideal thing for this to happen? Is for him to think that this is somehow a sign of God.
I mean, if you want to
That's
shoot the staff,
Yeah, it could.
Please don't.
Yeah, in reaction to that, Elena knows what she has to do down here, and she's starting to get a little frustrated. So she, like, I guess, can I roll to notice if he's about to shoot or not?
no, there's no possible way you could know.
Yeah, not with a roll like this.
Because I mean, he's still back in the forest.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's no way you could know he's about to shoot.
This
You
is
might
some
not even hear the
Simon
shot.
Heha shit that he pulled right there.
All right, so machine, tell us what happens exactly.
The shot goes straight through. You almost think it didn't hit anything, but then it hits the staff and it splinters all over him.
All right. The whole of the village, they like sort of like scramble about, right? And the old man himself, he sort of like flinches as his staff is blown into splinters, right? And then he sort of like yells something out, and immediately,
Wait. It splinters right when he was about to make contact with his face.
yeah. So Othello, you get like just a whole bunch of like wooden splinters straight in the face. It is not very pleasant, to say the least.
Thankfully, none of them hit your eyes, but it still hurts.
Yeah. The rest of the villagers, they begin to like scramble, like looking for whoever shot this shot at them. And the guy, he yells out something, right? And they all sort of like calm for a moment, and B begins to translate back. And she says, here's what she says. So I'll start from the beginning then. He says that you were on trial for massacre of his people, the kidnapping of his children, and the rape of his land.
When you say
Did
that,
you
I
say
say like,
rape? Did you say rape or raid?
Rape of his land, as in you raped land. It's an expression.
after
Oh, that's an expression.
After-
This time?
I guess I'm not going to talk.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
After they say that, I'm going to say like, kidnapping of their children? You mean how they kind of cut myself short, and I get a little mad, just kind of thinking about it. It's always frustrated Elena a little bit. How she never actually had a childhood, really. And she kind of shakes her head. She's like, You mean how they just take away children from here?
B shakes her head. Yeah, that's right. You didn't know about this?
No, I know. I look at her again. I keep looking at her. And say, I know about it. I was one of them.
Well, that explains quite a bit then. He says she continues to translate. The second part is that he's willing to hear you out. His staff being obliterated as it was just now is clearly a sign from something that he should at least hear what you have to say. At the very least.
Is it possible for me to use my ability to try to repair the staff right then and there, or no?
No.
What, I can't, like, make a gravelly thing at the end of it?
Nah. Not right now. No.
Okay. Well, I ask another question. I say, who's on trial? Me and him, or just him?
B, she responds, he hasn't quite decided that. He does know that you, at least, are innocent, and he wants to speak with you, actually. Alone.
I ponder for a bit, and then I look at Othello, and I look at Othello, and I say, I look at Othello, then back at her, and I say, well, I could do that. Just please be a bit lenient. We were without warning attacked.
The village head has assured you that your injured will be treated, and you will be given a place to stay, albeit you'll, of course, not be able to leave. But that is all he has promised at this point. Switching over to Val real quick. Switching over to Val. You see the situation de-escalate in the village. And about this time, you notice off to your side more of the weird coming into the village, and they're carrying two others with them. You recognize them as the pilot and the guardsman whom you tried to kill back in the prison.
Wilhelm.
Well, looks
They
like
seem-
there's a rescue mission now. Oh well.
They seem unharmed, but they are unconscious at the moment. All right, switching back to Elena.
Clever girl.
By the way, just to clarify, Othello is just standing there thinking about the charges he's presented with. Because something as a massacre of the weird kidnapping from the Underworld or raping of the land is something he, at least, didn't really know about. Basically, he was told that the weirds... I get to that later. Continue.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Line, when you were talking about from the corner of the machine's eye, I was thinking about this scene.
I know, I've seen it. Anyways, so Elena, your friends, if you can call them that, associates at least, are taken away somewhere, and you are brought to this sort of hut, and the village head, he takes a seat, and he clasps his hands together as he sits back. And he almost seems to be like praying almost. And then he looks up towards you, and he begins to speak. And B is there as well, and she begins to translate. He says that many years ago, I'm going to say, how old is your character, Elena?
She is 18.
He says about 17 years ago, they were attacked by the Gigaians, and that they lost much in the raid. Many lives were lost on that day, many children taken from their homes. He says that you were one of those children. that you were taken from your mother and father years ago. And then B sort of like adds in, I'm so sorry about that.
Linda's kind of confused at this point. She looks down and she's thinking about it. She's not very angry at the moment. She really shouldn't be. She's rather like tame for the most part. But she doesn't really make eye. She's still looking down. She speaks. She says, "So, was I born here then?"
B translates back your question, and he nods and says the word for yes. And she translates that back to you. Yes, that's right. You were born here 18 years ago, about.
I ask another question. Well, I speak again. I'm looking up as I'm speaking, like just slowly making eye contact, and I say, "Well, I only heard what I heard in Gigaias from other people, how they would just take children away."
By the way,
What?
they told you you were the child of a village of farmers.
What?
And they basically told you that they brought you here because if they wouldn't train you, you would probably kill your parents, destroy the village, or something like that.
Well, I guess I'll go with it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. That's what Gigaias told you. Okay.
Yeah. As I'm like I'm speaking, guys, I was told. I heard people talking about it, but I was personally told I was taken away so I wouldn't be a danger to people.
All right. She translates this back, and the old man, he gets extremely agitated. He sort of just like starts just spewing out his anger towards B, right? And she's like hastily translating back to you. He says, "Danger, danger. The only dangerous ones around here are the Gigaians. They come here with all of their weapons, with all of their greed, and they take our land. And they kill us. I've seen," and B, she sort of like goes and she begins to explain, "I've seen it. All of what he's saying is true."
I shake my head as I'm looking at them, and I say, "I believe you in that. They don't seem very nice. The only thing I really remember at all is just having this ring with me. They never took it away from me, and I kind of show him the Madrite ring."
He lifts up the crystal around his neck. He hands it to B for a moment, and he sort of points. It says something, and she walks up to you, and she puts the necklace, the crystal of it, to your ring, and they begin to glow and sort of emit this warmth. He says that these are used to identify members of families. They're carved from the same crystal. I suppose then this is your grandfather.
I'm kind of taken aback by this information, and I'm just... She's just processing it for the moment. And then she speaks after a few seconds. "So you're telling me that this is actually my home, and that they took me from this place where I had a family and could have had a childhood, and they just turned me into a weapon."
She translates back, and then he speaks solemnly. He sort of speaks. He lowers his head and speaks to B, and sighs again heavily. And she says back to you, "That's right. Along with many other children." He goes on, and he continues to speak. And he says that your loss was especially hard. You were seen as a gift because of your eyes. That you were special, that you had a grand destiny. And that it was stolen from you. And that he's sorry that he couldn't do anything.
She processes it. I'm dying on the inside. She processes the information for another few seconds, another few moments. Speaks up again. She's sounding a bit more. She sounds a mixture of angry and like sad. It's like you get what I mean. But she speaks and says, "Well, I don't know how to feel about this anymore. I've always felt a bit empty inside. Now I don't know how to feel." She kind of just cuts herself short. And just kind of just... Is there anywhere like to sit down immediately?
Yeah, there's several other like chairs. That
Is there any like right by me that I could sit down at?
Yeah. I'll say so.
She sits down and just kind of puts her hand on her... She puts her hands on her knees and just looks at the ground, just really conflicted.
The old man continues to speak, and B translates. He wants to know who in this group of people, who are members of the military faction. He'll need to know that so that the guilty can be put on trial.
Now's your chance.
Considering she's a bit mad at Othello mentally right now, that's part of why she's conflicted. Also, after a few moments, she just kind of takes a deep breath, exhales, and speaks and says, "Escalon, the man in the red bandages, he's the one who recruited us. He's not a part of the Gigaian military."
He looks up, as B translates this to you, the old man, he looks up, right? And he begins to, like, he says something, like, very quietly under his breath. The other seems frightened a bit. And B, like, looks at him, and, you know, she speaks in her own, in their tongue, right? Asking some sort of a question. Maybe asking for clarification. And she looks back to you with a confused look, and she asks, he says, "You mean the demon? The one with the yellow eyes?"
I nod. I'm like, "What do you mean, demon?" I know I don't know much about him personally, but he's the one who recruited us. I don't know where he's from, but he's not Gigaian. Othello, the officer who introduced us as a group, is... well, he's military, obviously.
B translates this, and then she asks, "Are there any others? Was there anybody else you came in with that we should know about?"
I nod and I say, "Well, we had someone else with us. He isn't Gigaian. Merely, he was also recruited. We had to go rescue him from a Gigaian outpost. But he's probably the one who shot at the staff, just out of defense, as he saw you about to strike Othello."
B translates this. What about the man with the...
Are you talking about Katie?
That's what I'm talking about. Who I'm talking about.
I shake my head. He was also a prisoner of the Gigaians. We also rescued him as well. But I have a question. My
what
parents
is-
actually around?
He sighs again as he begins to explain. B translates. After your kidnapping, your parents were distraught. They were angry. And they left this village. We don't know where they went or what happened to them. They've been gone over a decade now. Nearly 2. He says that at this point he can only guess that they are dead. And
I
he's
nod.
again sorry about that.
I nod to this and say, well, at least I know that there's someone here related to me and I have a home at least. Sorry, I'm very conflicted right now.
All right, we're gonna switch over to Val real quick. So Val, what are you currently doing? Like, how is your character going to approach this situation?
I'm going to sneak into where I saw them take the unconscious men if possible.
All right. Well, you think it's way too dangerous. Village like they are, where around you, but you do get as close as you think is safe to get, and you see that they take them to this one hut in the very center of the village, and they have what appears to be just holding down the fort, so to speak. You're not sure what exactly their plans are, but as far as you can tell, they haven't killed them yet.
So I don't think that I can manage to pass them there.
I mean, if you wanted to attempt it, you can definitely give it a shot. But I'm going to tell you right now, that is going to be like a really hard thing to do. You'd have to get like a 20 to be able to do it.
Even with a +7. Okay.
So you have to roll at least a 13.
Oh,
But yeah, if you want to give it a shot, yeah, you can go right ahead, try to get in there.
it's only I have to roll a 13. Oh, okay.
Because of your +7.
Right. Yeah, sure. I'm willing to risk it.
Risk it for the biscuit, right?
Nope.
Huh?
They immediately catch me.
All right, so here's what I'm going to say happens.
You're being sneaky?
You begin to creep into the village,
Yeah.
and then you take a step forward, and immediately you just hear like a crack, and you're like, oh no, and your foot gets snatched right up from underneath you, and you're just dangling in the air.
You just stepped on the most noisiest twig in the forest.
And immediately, like you hear the villagers just like yelling at a few. You see them like converging down below you.
But this is what happened. This is what happened with that roll, Val.
Yeah, you got caught like Han Solo and all them. Anyways, so you have been had, so to speak.
Okay, can I roll to try to escape, or...
You can, but I mean, they're waiting for you down there. Like, there is a bunch of them. They're just sort of gathered around you. Elena, you actually hear from inside the hut, like this whole commotion, right? And then, another woman comes in this time, and she says something in B trans. I think they found another one of your party members.
I look to her and I say, that's the assassin we hired. Didn't give us a name. He said his name was the Machine.
Also, Othello is getting kinda pissed right now because he's been left waiting.
Don't worry, we'll be there soon. Anyways, so Val. Let's see. You're rolling for your escape?
Yeah. Do I cut the rope or do
alright.
I fail?
So, I'll say with a roll like that, you can definitely manage to cut yourself down. But, I mean, you're just gonna like fall right into their hands, pretty much.
I mean, you're just gonna kind of just fall bridal style in one of their hands, one of the hands, and it's like, hello, nurse.
Pretty much, yeah.
And
Hey, Val, you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure my character isn't strong enough to break out of that grapple.
Well,
Can you hear me? Hello?
Do you disconnect?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on. Anyways,
What?
what happened exactly?
I could explain later.
Okay, that's fine. Are we re-recording again, or
Yep.
what's going on? All right, so we're back on air. So where
so
were-
I'll recap it. It's fine.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and give us a recap. You're pretty good at it, actually.
So what happened was, you were like, yeah, I'm fucking Solid Snake. And you were like, I'm creeping in crunch. Hey, look, you activate my trap card. What? And then you're dangling in the air helplessly, and then people are surrounding you.
And then I cut the rope, fell into their hands.
And then you cut the rope and you gracefully fell into a woman's arms, but it wasn't like a romantic love story, it was like a horror story, because little did you know, it was going to be death by Snoo Snoo.
Yeah, goddamn it, Elena. Anyways, continuing on. So you cut the rope, and you fall down, and you're surrounded. It is not looking good for you, but they don't immediately move to attack you or anything like that. They're just sort of like there, just like staring you down, pretty much. It's kind of intimidating, actually.
You might get a few off glances that some of these women might want to mate with you, however.
But anyways, we're just gonna fast forward for a second.
okay.
They bring you to the others, so we're gonna go to you, Othello. Othello, you've been waiting in this hut for God knows how long. You've actually
Hey,
lost track of the time. Yeah, what's up?
Elena did say she was gonna help with the trial and stuff, so no.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
As you're sitting there, we'll actually have a little bit of role play. The pilot and Wilhelm were brought in. They look a bit bloody and bruised, but they're still very much alive at this point. They sort of just like toss them in there. How do you react to this, seeing your allies treated in such a way?
This only adds to the rage that he's trying to fight with.
At this point, Escalon, he begins to speak. You would do well to learn how to hold that in.
And you talking about it won't make it any easier.
But I do have something useful to say. I'm not just
then-
going to antagonize you. Mostly.
Do you think this is a laughing matter?
Once you've seen the things I've seen, everything becomes a laughing matter. Even this. Now that it was your grandfather, right? That's what Ord was to you? Or was it your uncle?
He was my grandfather.
Now that your grandfather is dead, that leaves you as being next in line. Correct?
He was the Grand Marshal. There's still a couple of ranks between me and him. Probably that blonde little dipshit is going to be Grand Marshal now.
But they don't know that. Now do they?
If what they said, or what B or whatever her name is, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, is true, then proposing myself as the Grand Marshal will not really help with that matter, won't it?
Oh, but it will. Since you would be the de facto leader, and you could potentially sell yourself as such, you might be able to work out a deal with these weirds. Some sort of a treaty, if you will. Their leader, at the very least, seems willing to hear you and what you have to say. Your standing there is evidence enough for that.
They do look like the kind that only listen to themselves. Other weirds. Other atrocities.
Well then, if I were you, I would pray that Elena is merciful.
I do not depend on her mercy.
Then what will you do? The silence is telling.
The sound of silence.
At this point, your silence between you two is broken as they heft in another of your party, the assassin from earlier.
Can I try to sign some language sort of things to them?
To the weirds or to your party?
The weirds.
What do you want to try and convey?
I'm gonna try to convey like I was here to save the girl.
I was here to save the girl. I swear.
I'm interested. How do you, what gestures do you make to, convey this to them? I'm curious.
Well, I do the eyes thing, and then I, do a triangle, and then I do, another thing, and then I, point to things.
I'll back him up on this.
Can I roll
Assassin might
something?
seem pretty appealing to people, just saying.
They look at you for a moment, but they don't really, understand.
I'm doing the
Like, you
most
just-
basic thing, and I'm not even speaking language.
They think you're just, making some weird gestures at them. What is this guy doing?
Can I make a roll?
It's like...
Sure, yeah, you can make a roll.
I don't know what. I think I should make a roll.
It would be, presence. Yeah.
I can only imagine Val right now, just... I can imagine the machine trying to, it's like a guy trying to do, fucking sign language.
12. Nat 12.
12. Alright, yeah, they have... You can tell by the looks on their face, they have no idea what you're talking about.
I could maybe figure out something. I mean, the eye thing sort of sounds like something.
Yeah, I mean, they could probably tell that you're talking about, eyes, weird, But as far as the other signs are make towards them, they have, no idea.
They might also
Um,
think that I'm, stupid or something.
That might also be a possibility. They escort you, though, to the rest of your party, and you're brought into this hut. And there you see Othello and the rest of your party. The only one not there is the raider, thief, that was with you. He is absent.
Oh no.
But anyways, we'll fast forward a few hours. So, some time passes, and eventually, one of the weirds walks into the hut, and he gestures for you to follow him.
To who?
To all of you as a group, just and he sort of like just waves with his hand for you to follow him.
My character understands his language, yet he does not understand mine.
Did they take away my pistol?
Probably.
Yeah, they took away your weapons.
Wait, they probably didn't take away my
So if I
poison.
see even one scratch on that thing, I'm going to give them a reason to believe there was a massacre.
Okay, what were you saying, Val?
They probably didn't take away my poison.
They probably didn't. That's a good point. You might still have that.
I'd honestly kind of. It might be. Maybe.
I mean,
anyways,
they might just think it's food.
wait, what's this black stuff? Oh God!
Tastes like salt.
It tastes like cyanide. What's that? I don't know.
anyways, they bring you towards the center of the village, and you see the old man, B, and Elena standing towards the front, and you're brought in, and you're facing them, and you're surrounded by all sides by the village.
Elena can see that Othello is not happy at this point.
The old man begins to speak, and B begins to translate. As was stated before, you're brought here on charges of kidnapping, murder, and destruction of the land.
I raise my
How
hand.
would you- She says, "Oh, I'm sorry. You there, she points towards you. We've been told of your innocence along with the man with the injured leg. But the members of the Gigaian military are the ones on trial. You have nothing to worry about."
Okay, I'll walk away and take a seat.
All right. They allow you to. They allow you to join in on the crowd and watch. He asks a question, and you presume this is, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty? And B confirms this. How do you plead, guilty or not?
Innocent.
All right. She translates this back to the man, and he says, he sort of just scoffs at the.
I hear
Sort of
guilty.
And at this point, Escalon, who's next to you, he steps up, and he says, "If I might, I would like to act as Othello's attorney, if he would so allow it."
If I'm out for words, you can have a go.
B translates this to the village head, and he says, he waves with his hand and allows it. The old man, he begins to speak. And, B translates, of course. About 18 years ago, nearly 2 decades, you came here, your forces, your men, your ships, and you killed many of us on that day. And you stole our children.
And you know what? The only man who could have given that command was shot and is probably dead by now.
She conveys this to him.
Shot by me.
She conveys this to the old man, and he sort of just he does and she translates back. Well, then I suppose that justice has been served on that front, but that does not dismiss your force's guilt.
Of course it doesn't.
For he speaks again, and she asks, "We want to know why. For what reason For what purpose did you take our children from us? What have you been doing with them all these years?
Can I interject?
You are asking the wrong person.
Can I interject?
I may be the
What were you saying?
grandchild.
1 second. Val, what were you saying?
Can my character just like go in there and like interject?
Sure. What do you want to say?
I want to say they've been keeping them as slaves.
Oh, shit!
Wait, what'd you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so you step in, and, you say this, and B translates it, and this old man is just furious. Like, the look on his face is just one of just utter fury.
Stand down, you filthy cutthroat. You will get your
I say
chance.
it's obvious. Just look at the branding.
B translates this this comment about a brand, and the old man, he looks at you, talks to B, and B asks, "Is it true? Are you branded? Are you a slave?"
Oh, were they asking that to Elena?
Yes.
Yeah. Elena starts to look a little angry now, just at the thought of the brand, because it still hurts her to this day. Like, the skin is so sensitive there that it's like, it's not really painful, but you know what I mean. It's more sensitive skin now because it's burned. And she kind of just like tugs at her shirt to reveal the brand like around her lower collarbone or whatever. And,
All right.
and she's like, and she says, "Yeah, it's true. They branded me."
B translates this, and then she comes back to you. So they forced you to serve them, to be their dog.
More or less. That they made me do terrible things to people. They took away my childhood.
I see.
Yes?
The old man, he looks towards you, and he speaks.
You
again.
should really get with names, because you is not a good pronoun in this
Well,
situation.
towards you, Othello.
Thanks.
And he asks, and then B translates, "Why should we spare your life when you and your people have done anything but show us mercy? For what reason?"
You don't know a thing, do you?
Think about what?
It's true. We branded them, we trained them, and we gave them the opportunity to work for a better cause, for a better world, so to speak.
Whose
B.
world? Yours or everyone's?
B, just between you and me, have you seen War?
She replies to you. "I have. Yes. Back when I was in Gigaias, I saw how you and your forces fought against Farso. It was terrible."
You know how much blood is spilled, you know how many lives are taken, and we are fighting to end this. Once we get to our goal, the Weirds will get their own place to live. They will have everything they need.
And she translates this back. And the old man, he humors you. And B replies with what he says. "So let's assume then that I'm willing to trust your word. How am I to know that on your authority that will come true, and your superiors will stick to their word?"
Because there aren't any other superiors to me. My grandfather was the Grand Marshal of the military, and now that he's dead, I'm the next in line.
She translates this to the old man, and he looks to you for a moment. He seems to be deep in thought as he considers your words.
I know what I done and will do is not worthy of any forgiveness. And once I get to my goal, to finally have the weirds, these people, given their peace, I will face anything you will see me as guilty of.
Alright, B translates this. The old man speaks. B translates back to you, Lena. Is what he's saying true? Is he really the leader of that country?
I'm gonna. If I've been with Othello for a while, would she be gauging it as him kind of just talking out his mouth or telling the truth?
From what you know, based off of the hierarchy, what he's saying is pretty much true. By now, anybody that remains in Farso, odds are the higher ups are kind of dead by this point.
You mean
So,
Gigaias?
assuming, yeah, in Gigaias, that's my bad. Assuming that is true, that would indeed make Othello the next in line for leadership of the country. Which means that he would have the authority to make all of those promises come true.
Also,
One second.
Sorry.
As to whether or not he would, that depends on how much you trust Othello. That's up to you to decide.
Alina.
Escalon, at this point, he steps up. Perhaps a show of trust. My client, you have no reason to trust him, of course, as I'm sure you do not. But maybe we can do something to change that. Maybe there's something that you need done, some help or resources that you need, that we might be able to procure for you.
Escalon, I think I have made myself clear.
Anything to help your case.
I would like to address Alina directly. Think about it. Did I ever mistreat you?
Yes.
Huh?
Well, you're not asked.
Rip. That's a good question. Has he ever mistreated her really at all?
I don't know.
Probably.
That's for you two to decide. How was your relationship to one another?
Not really. He made demands. She usually followed. Or do you have something to subject to that, Alina?
I mean, there's that one time with the I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
What the hell?
But no, as he's addressing me, I look at him right in the eyes and I say, I speak, but I sound a little bit again conflicted. I say, how could I trust you when you followed their orders? I know you've never personally mistreated me, by any chance.
Escalon speaks up. It's a soldier's duty to follow orders. If they're not, if they refuse to, then you know what happens. And Othello knows what happens as well.
With that I nod and I keep speaking to Othello and I say, would you honestly change the way the Gigaians see the weird? Would you stop using us as weapons in your armies to fight wars.
Once those weapons won't be necessary anymore, of course.
The old man, he sort of goes back into his contemplation mode. And he asks, he outstretches his hand towards you, Elena. If you were the one to make the decision, what would you dish out as a punishment? Based off of your experiences. B translates this.
I think on it, and I look at Othello, and there's some malice just in her eyes as she's looking at Othello. And then moving her gaze back to B, she says, well, maybe have him branded. That'd be a bit too cruel, wouldn't it?
At the suggestion of branding, she, the old man's eyes sort of like light up as a sort of devious smile just spreads across his face. Branding? Oh, I know just the punishment that B translates. The old man stands. I will let fate decide how you will live or die. You will be branded as one of us. And if you die, then your punishment will have already been decided. Either way, your people will never look at you in the same manner.
Branded as one of yours. What do you want to do? Step me in a cave full of this crystal?
Oh,
Yes.
cave wouldn't be quite enough. Oh no.
The ocean.
I think it's time for your rebirth, your baptism.
I will face anything you deem necessary to show you that my cause is what I said.
Holy diver starts playing. Oh my god.
You've been down too low in the middle of the midnight sea. Oh, can't you see?
Okay, so continuing on. B translates what the old man is saying, and she declares that punishment has been decided, that we will travel to the seas, that he will be submerged within its waters, and that should he emerge, talks of peace will commence between us. Let it be done. He also declares that because of your willingness in this, he will spare the lives of your pilot and of the other guardsmen with you. And no matter what your fate is, they shall walk free.
Good.
Hey Val,
Mm-hmm.
that's whatever you disconnected earlier. That's what I was thinking of. just watch it. It's great.
Anyways, don't watch it just yet.
Oh.
But anyways, so they escort you out to the sea. This takes several hours, and you reach the coast, and you just—it's almost beautiful, really. The water just sort of just glows, almost like a dim sort of rain, as the waves sort of just slosh against the shore.
It seems to be saturated with Ordite.
You recall the statistics about survival against exposure from Modrite, and you know that there's really a very slim chance that you're going to walk out of this alive. Anyways, this is the perfect time for a break.
Oh.
No.
No, it's happening. I gotta take a piss anyway, so 5-minute break, guys.
Alright. Well, I get to watch the video.
Be right back.
It's gonna start at a funny moment. You'll see how it.
Come on over here.
Why I was thinking about it.
Coward! I know that I want to punch you in the nose. So beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch. an intellectual dumbass.
And now it's playing Alex Jones.
You coward, you think you're a tough guy. I hate you, coward.
Did you see the words like, oh no? And he just
We're gonna defeat this anti-human scum. We're gonna wreck their world.
Alex Jones is the best news broadcaster.
Too bad it's banned off YouTube.
Oh, he's more than banned off YouTube.
What's up?
Oh, he's more than that.
Yeah, anyone who brings him up also, apparently gets copyright strikes.
Oh, no. He's banned off Google as well.
Really?
I believe that's what the big controversy was. Sort of like how 8chan's also banned.
Yeah.
This will be interesting.
Which just goes to show Alex Jones must have been right about something. I mean, why else would they ban him?
Soup time.
I know, soup.
Soup time. I think it turned out to be fun. And also, it's more character development because Othello gets to possibly become the thing that, his people were enslaving. It's kind of like poetic justice.
I'll teach him to have slaves.
I'll teach him to be a slaver.
Yeah.
But I mean, they still got magical powers.
And I have magical powers too. It's called poison.
I also have magical powers.
Yeah.
It's called using the blood in your body to make you dance around like a puppet.
Okay, I'm back.
We're talking about the aspects of bloodbending.
And how Alex Jones is the best.
Yes.
This will be
Alex
interesting.
Jones is the best bender. You know what he bends?
Your
he bends
minds.
media. Alex Jones is a media bender.
Yes.
Anyways, we can continue now if we're ready.
Probably.
Okay.
I have to offer this song for this moment. I just have to.
I think Holy Diver is still more appropriate.
Anyways, so they, you see the Earth begin to shift, Cedric, as they make a sort of like a piece of the Earth that juts out from the sand, and it goes over the water, forming a sort of ramp for you to walk up. And they tell you that when you're ready, walk off the ramp and into the water. Brace yourself, though. It's going to be probably the most painful thing you've ever endured. The explains.
But Elena's kind of standing by her grandfather, by the way.
Gotcha. What is the machine doing?
Oh, I'm, sitting down. I have a chair lined up. I mean, popcorn next to the guy who's gonna issue the sentence or whatever.
One leg propped up,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Can
I
I
start-
open up and watch together for this? I want music.
Sure, by all means.
We have to play Holy Diver then.
No. I have the perfect song.
Okay. Ocean man, take me by the hand.
YMCA.
I'm assuming this is not the song.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
So you guys in there?
Yeah, I'm in here.
Alina, you coming too?
Yeah, hold on.
Yes.
I just started playing Ocean Man. I'm sorry I had to.
Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, we're all here. Go ahead.
So, Othello walks slowly on the ramp they made for him, and as he stands at just let it be. As he stands at the
Okay, everyone, stop. Whenever you
Just
hit
as
pause
he
and play, it
stands
doesn't for
up-
everyone.
He stands at the end, gazing into the water, and just he basically lets himself fall over forwards into the water.
Sounds awful. Oh, it's because my volume is so low.
Mine was too high.
Alright, so you're just dramatically, just slowly falling from your perspective. It seems like time just sort of just stretches out. And you splash into the water, and immediately it just feels like your skin, your eyes, your whole body is just engulfed in flames. Like you're just on fire.
Even more so, you're lower.
Here's what I'm gonna have you do. Make a presence strength roll.
Presence and strength.
Yep.
Gee, what's the DC
This will
on this?
be +2, +0. Anything I can put into there?
If you want to use some of your potential, you can boost your roll, I'll say.
Okay, how many potential can I put in there?
For every 3 that you sacrifice, you gain a +1.
Okay, I'm gonna go ham here and give up 50.
Alright, that'll boost you by 5 points.
5.
And that means that to pass the roll, you're looking at a 20.
20.
Yep.
Any other skills I can put in there?
Do you have any skills that would be applicable?
Military training?
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. For it.
Okay, that's another +5. I'm looking at a +12 here.
Come on!
You can do it.
Oh.
Man, if he survives, I might try.
That isn't! It isn't possible!
Okay, here's what I'll say.
He
Here's
dies.
what I'll say. Because you're so close.
Natural
I'm gonna
20
say-
instant ascension.
No. I'm gonna say that you pass with a complication.
What, do one of my eyes just die?
Well, I have to decide what the complication is gonna be, so give me a moment.
Want me to pick one?
Or one of my arms gets horribly deformed?
Sure. Here's what I'll do. Elena, Val, both of you can suggest a complication for Cedric's character, and this will be a detraction, meaning it'll be something that hinders him, and whoever I like better, that'll be what happens.
Alright, I have an idea.
What's your idea?
What if in the process of this happening, he, his vision doesn't get God, what am I trying to say? So, you know how Elena has a brand on her chest, whatever?
Yeah.
What if this process burns into him? Just
Leaving burning marks on my whole body like
whole
that?
thing.
Oh, I can see
Hello?
it now. Othello's gonna come out. I hate
Can
water.
you hear me?
It's messy, and it gets everything wet.
I
No,
got
no,
it.
Not Anakin!
Okay,
no,
I
I
got
said,
an idea.
My idea wasn't done yet. I kind of...
Oh.
Yeah, go on.
I said, what if the whole process literally made it to where, his shoulders now kind of had a brand on them, just from the contact with water, or his entire body did.
Okay, now
So-
it's... Oh, you're not done. Okay, finish.
Yeah, tribal tattoos, kind of where there's lines on the body.
I gotcha.
Maybe his shoulders and a few other parts of his body have these things, so he's truly branded.
It lights up his veins. There you go.
Yeah.
Alright, what's your suggestion, Val?
Oh,
The chemicals went into his bloodstream and interacted with his spinal cord and brain. He will now forever in his life be paralyzed from the waist down.
please.
We're gonna go with Elena.
Okay.
Jesus, Val, that's draconian.
Yeah, he's gonna have, you know, he's gonna have to like walk. He's gonna have to have like the battle wheelchair.
Battle wheelchair.
Which I
It's a
think's-
hover chair.
Which I still think
Alina,
a battle
push
wheelchair is
battle
cool.
Okay.
Shit,
show
it got stuck.
All right. So
I'm got
so
to
here's
stop, punch their feet.
here's what happens. Here's what happens. So, you sort of like, you can feel yourself just falling down, Cedric. Like your whole body is just heavy, and you're just falling and falling and falling, and you begin to hear this sort of like, almost like a heartbeat, as it seems like the entire world just sort of just comes to life. It's just a constant just. All around you, echoing through the water and into your eardrums. Sort of, it's almost deafening, and you can hear just these hundreds of voices. Some of them sort of screaming at you, some whispering, and others just talking. And it's just indiscernible, all of it. And your head just is just it just hurts so badly. And you open your eyes, and they glow just sort of like piercing red color as you emerge through the surf and are washed back onto the shore. You just sort of like spew out some of the water that filled your lungs, and it's mixed in with it as sort of this blood from your from your body, obviously. You got really fucked up is what I'm trying to say. But you are alive. And you look down at your hands, and the veins running through them, and they're light with this blue color. You know now that there's no possible way that you could ever hide this. Okay, so here's what happens. You're going to get a new detraction, right? And it's going to be called branded, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And it permanently reduces your presence by 2 when interacting with other Gigaians.
Thank you. You were about to cripple my only value.
I take like a jug or a gallon of this water after I see this.
If you have a container to hold some of it, sure.
Yeah. Sure. If not, I like find or buy one or whatever. I'm sure
Could
I brought
you
like a
guys
cantina.
Stop getting my good vibe music off.
I'm not even listening
Actually, I'd
to
say
it.
this music is rather fitting.
That's what I was thinking too.
Anyways, the village head, he walks, and his eyes sort of narrow at you. He speaks, one hand behind his back, the other on his stave. And B translates, a fitting punishment, I think. He then outstretches his hand towards you.
He looks up at him.
Okay, we can pause this music now, by the way. No longer appropriate.
Thank you.
Nope.
Damn, you alright, Cedric?
It was part of the character.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
I'm good at fake coughing.
Oh no, that was real.
Anyways, continuing. Continuing.
I accept it.
Oh shit. Shit.
I told you I would.
Well, looking, I'm kind of, Elena's looking down at him, or whatever position he's. I don't know if he's on his knees or standing up in the process of doing so.
He's still a little shaky, but he's trying to get onto his feet.
I kind of lean down to get level with him and just look him right in the eyes. And I just kind of speak in... It sounds like a sweet tone of voice, but it's clearly just... There's some malice in there. And she says... Red really suits you.
I thought I was more of a blue guy.
The machine.
Retribution.
Just yells it.
All right. So, you make your way back to the village, and you rest for the night, so you can recover all of your potential. But at this point, if you've lost any, the rest of you can as well. The next day arrives, and one of the weirds comes and collects you, and all of you are brought for the village head, along with B, of course. And B begins to translate what he's saying. So then, let's talk about peace. Our leader has considered your deeds, and these are his conditions for peace. He will help you. We will offer you our assistance willingly. But after the war is over, several things have to occur. All of the children that you took from us have to be given the choice to return here. It'll be left in their hands whether or not they choose to. Additionally, we won't completely cut you off from your Modgerite supply, but you have to slow down your mining of it significantly, along with the other resources of the land. We'll be willing to engage in trade. If you can agree to these conditions, then we're willing to accept peace between us.
By the way, because it's all wet and shit, he left his jacket and his shirt. So
Okay.
you can really see the branding on his upper torso.
Gotcha.
He walks up to the chieftain and holds out one hand, basically to seal the deal.
All right. This time, an actual, genuine smile crosses his face, clasps your hand firmly. He speaks, and he says, "Very well then. So then, well, not him, but it's being translated. Obviously, I don't need to say that anymore. So then, what do you need of us?" At this point, Escalon, he sort of draws attention and he explains the situation to those present. The Ferocians have, by this time, dismantled Gigaias. There might be some fragments of resistance left at this point, but by and far, it is just a shadow of its former self. But there are still allies that we can bring into our cause. People of Sand Falls might be willing to aid us in our cause, as well as perhaps those in the wetlands.
I pipe up.
Yes?
I know of plenty of people who will join us. Plus, I have some fame still to float around.
I also speak up, saying, "We did encounter a white-eyed eagle before we crashed."
As you say this, the old man, he speaks, and he He asks something. It's a question, and B translates, "You encountered an ancient."
I nod. I nod and I say, there's also a red-eyed weird on top of it as well. This eagle seemed to be controlling the storm itself.
The ancients, B begins to explain, they are very powerful beasts. Very powerful beast indeed. Really see them all that often, but it's said in the stories that they watch over us.
I think for a bit and speak and say maybe that's why I didn't take down the ship we were on when I looked at it.
You're very lucky to have what you're saying is true.
He locked eyes with Alina and left.
Perhaps, then, we can find these ancients. Maybe tell them of our plight, and maybe they'll offer us help. Our tribe, after all, if what you're saying is true, is probably in danger.
I speak up again. Of that I have no doubt. I'm sure any growing power will be coming down here to get Madrate.
Additionally, Escalon continues, our enemy has a power not of this world, but of another.
What do you mean?
He turns towards you. Don't you think it was strange, able to so quickly descend upon our fleet without us noticing?
The Forsonians never have been some with the best military, so that was a bit odd.
It's because they can move through places unseen.
I'm about to play a song, by the way.
Go ahead.
Yep.
They can move through places unseen and arrive very quickly at their destination. As you can imagine, this gives them quite a tactical advantage over us. Their leader, a man by the name of Arden, he is contracted to fulfill this entity's desires. Thankfully for you, though, we can access these pathways as well.
Interesting.
I'll explain more about that when the time comes. But for now, our next objective must be to find Alon.
I speak up again. As long as I've been in the military, I'm pretty sure the enemy force has already occupied Gigaias and its capital.
Indeed.
Going there wouldn't be too smart.
The training facility is in the lower areas of the main district. So if you want to save your brethren, there's the first part to search for.
I have a better fitting song, actually. Oh, what it?
Okay. Continuing on. One second, actually. I gotta step away for a moment.
Hangouts.
In the meantime, Othello talks to Lena. So, you've been raised with this. What does this mean exactly? I can feel something, but it is strange.
I make eye contact with you for a brief moment and just look away for a bit in the distance, just pondering, kind of hiding a smirk. And I say, well, probably going to start with a weird manifestation of something. It's different for everyone, really.
My character jumps in. So does this affect reproduction?
I'd imagine not.
Huh. That is weird.
Just be aware that in time you will be able to do what weird do. Once you get a hang of it, of course.
So if I drink this water, would I also become a weird?
Well, if you want to basically swim in acid, at least that's what it felt like, go ahead.
Well, no, this would just be drinking it.
I think you would die.
They say
I
that
look-
about cyanide.
I look over. You understand that is most likely pure concentrated magite. Bleh. How the fuck do you say that word again?
Magite.
Magite.
Right. Oh.
That is most likely concentrated madrate. It's different than a poison. It changes your entire body, how it works and functions.
I
Neat.
mean, I'm the best example right now.
If you drank that, it would be unknown what would happen to you.
Better wait till I'm healthy then.
That's a better question for the grandfather, I suppose, in this case.
Alright.
But from the rumors that are moved around, I'm relatively sure that people are transformed into weird if they are introduced into a sudden source of it. I guess it would be possible that you could slowly transform into a weird if you did drink small amounts of that, but something I probably wouldn't risk myself.
Really? But you already are one. Are you not?
She's a wide eye. The only thing that comes after that are things of myth.
I was born a wide-eyed.
Oh, right.
Fair.
So people who aren't so you aren't all created. Weird.
No.
You
Why
see
do you think
where
there's
I'm
so many people here?
You see where I'm from, miners will just randomly turn into weirds after a while.
That's probably from being around it.
Yeah.
They are mining it after all.
Yeah. That is those who don't turn into corpses.
I also look at Othello and say, "Oh, by the way, nice tattoos there. They look good on you."
Mine look better.
Don't get too cocky there.
Who?
Both of you.
Oh, you're just mad because mine actually, you have to earn.
Okay, sorry about that. I got called from somebody who I not talked sometime.
Oh, in the meantime, Alina and I had a little chat in character.
What about?
The machine also joined in too.
How about how this whole weird thing works with the powers and stuff.
Yep. She
What
also
changes
said,
now?
and then the machine was like, "What happens if I drink this?" And Lane is probably like, I don't know."
Anyways, as you're talking about that, I'll say actually, she sort of gets excited for. She's like, "Oh, ooh, I can show you some tricks."
Well then,
Elena
I'm eager to
perks.
learn.
Yeah, Elena perks up. It's like, "Oh, really?"
Uh-huh. I wasn't always a weird myself. First came down here, of course. But I thankfully over time I was exposed to this land, and things took their course, and here I am.
You also might have to teach me the dialect you were using earlier as well.
Oh, there's so much stuff you guys don't know. So much. But I can show you. So I would be happy to. She talks to the man, and tells them of this, and he agrees that this would be a good exercise, though he stresses how important time is in the situation we have at hand. He then says something else to B, and she's like, "Are you sure?" Well, she says that out loud, realizing that she asked her tongue. Then she asked the same question in his tongue. He nods his head. It's like he wants to show you something.
Okay.
I perk up interested. I'm like, "Show us what?"
I follow.
Just follow us. And the old man, he begins to walk, and you walk for perhaps half an hour, and you arrive at this cave. And the old man begins to speak, and he explains many, many years ago, long before any of us were born, this land was not as it was. It was whole. And we came into being. I'm sure you probably still have this story in your mind of how Mantra was our creator, how she watched over us, made us into what we are, and how we betrayed her, and how she tried to drive us away because of what we did.
I nod and say, "I've heard of the legends before."
They're true, he says.
What
Every
makes you
single
so
one of them.
sure?
He turns towards you. I've seen it, and heard it, felt it. Mantra still lives. Within all of us, within the land, the air, water, her blood flows. And now, even through you. He gestures towards you, Othello. You heard it, didn't you? While you were there in the water? Her heartbeat?
That was supposed to be Madra.
It is Madra, yes. There was also another man. Well, we assume it was a man. It could have been a woman, though we really don't know. Time has sort of just washed that away. And they tried to bring a peace between man and Madra. But their efforts were in vain. And so they forced a peace. And through their power, they were able to lift man into the skies. Well, most of us, anyway. Those that remain down here, well, we took a different course. Make no mistake, we do not worship Madra. We fear her. We do not want her to reawaken, for if she were to, that would be disastrous for all of man.
And why is that?
She would continue her war against us. The stone beasts would return, and we would die.
The stone beasts.
That's correct. They were beasts, horrors made of stone, crafted by Madra. When the land was lifted into the sky, the stone beasts were cursed with flesh, severing them from Madra's will. They are the wolves and the foxes and the birds that now occupy this place.
You have to excuse me, I've only been a weird for a day, and
Not even.
everything you just told me, basically, we have up there in Gigaias, but we handle them like old wives' tales.
There's a bit of truth in all of the fiction. And here, I can show you another part of being weird. Or, as he says he has a different word. He doesn't use weird. He uses some other word, but you're not sure what exactly it means.
What does it sound like?
Kai.
I'll say it's along the words of, I'll say like,
That's the word itself, Kai.
it's like geef. That's what he says, something along those lines. Geef.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he uses to describe weirds.
Ah, yes, like being famous GIF Yankee.
B,
Yes.
what? I know he uses the word "geef" for weird.
It's derived from word for gifted that we use now. A lot of the language is like that, actually. We used to all speak the same thing, but then over time it just changed into what it is now.
Yeah, basic language evolution.
But in here, you can see the dreams that Madra dreams. But I must warn you, she continues to translate, it is oftentimes disturbing. But this is something that we all go through.
Yes, that I just went skinny dipping into a basin of what felt like a liquid fire. There's nothing really much to disturb me right now.
Circumcision. Please.
Can someone shut that cutthroat up?
Continuing on though, the old man, he enters into the cave and he gestures for you to follow.
I follow.
I also follow.
Alright? You all enter into this cave and you walk for a ways and you suddenly just feel it get really, really cold all of a sudden. And you look back towards the cave exit and you notice that the light is gone. It's just disappeared. And you feel your feet just fall out from underneath you as you're just descending down.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't like this.
B translates, don't be afraid. You will not be hurt. And you fall down and eventually you see this silver light just erupt, and it's so intense that you just have to like shield your eyes for a moment from it. And you fall down, and you see below you this nightscape and a tree, this gigantic tree, the canopy, just stretching out for as far as the eye can see in any direction. And you hear Escalon under his breath. He mutters something, almost as if in disbelief. But you don't quite catch what he says.
B.
Yes?
The chief called Escalon a demon. What's up with that?
Escalon looks over at you. Of course they think demon. I'll tell you myself when the time is right. And that will be very soon, after we get out of here. The chief go ahead, my bad.
Is everyone like in view of each other or what?
Yeah, you're falling towards the ground together.
I look at B and the chief and I say, where are we exactly?
This is what once was, but is no more. What the world used to be. You might call it yesterday, or 1,000 years ago. This is where things go to die. But there is little difference between death and sleep, only that one may return from sleep naturally. Death, on the other hand, is harder to escape, but not impossible.
Are you telling me that there's a world from the dead?
Yes, that's right. Escalon says.
Okay, Escalon.
There are ways to return from the dead.
Escalon,
Yes?
I'm gonna slap you into a coma if you ever tell anyone close to my grandpa about this.
Don't worry, I don't want to see him return any more than you. Besides that, even if he were here, well, he wouldn't be himself anymore.
Meaning?
If a person has the potential to return from the dead, well, they don't return as they were. This world changes them, warps them into something nightmarish, you might say. And you fall below the canopy, and you touch down upon the ground. And all around you, for a place where they claim the dead go, it seems awfully lively. Fairly ironic in your minds. Don't let the peace of this place fool you. It is rife with chaos. And in front of you, you see this sort of like hilly sort of structure, and it almost looks vaguely human-like. And the village chief, he continues, there she is, where she sleeps to this day, where she has slept, and hopefully where she will continue to sleep for all of eternity. Madra.
Mother.
And you just feel like this sort of like static in the air, and you notice everybody's eyes begin to like look that much more intensely. And the markings on your body, Cedric, seem to be reacting to this presence as well.
So that you can actually see my pulse on my veins now?
Yeah. And It's just sort of like a thing harmony, a slight hum that fills your ears. Now,
That-
she
By the
is
way, does
dreaming
my blood
peacefully.
glow as well?
Yes.
Nice.
Now she is sleeping peacefully. We arrived at a good time, it seems.
And let me guess, you want to keep it that way.
Hey, does his
That's right.
eyes glow?
Huh?
Are his eyes different?
Othello's eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're glowing more. You notice the intensity, like, within them spike a bit.
What about Elena's eyes? Are her eyes just kind of glowing a more? Is her hair and eyes just like glowing more white?
Yeah.
Or
All of the weirds sort of react to this presence.
No offense, but you are currently pretty primitive in the technology. My
Gone
point,
by before.
my point is, once this whole shit is over, maybe we can learn from one another.
Perhaps. Perhaps. The scene melts away, and you find yourselves at the foot of the cave. Outside. Let's return to the village. I'm sure that you have much to discuss with your friend here. And the village chief sort of gestures towards Escalon. What the hell?
What?
Wow.
So,
You return back to the village. What do you do?
I'm gonna walk over to B real fast.
Okay.
I'm gonna tap her on the shoulder and just ask a question.
What do you ask her?
Where do you think my parents could have gone?
She shakes her head. I have no idea.
I'm sure they're on a farm somewhere that we'll never find.
I'm right behind her because I wanted to talk to B as well.
All right.
We will find them, and if they happen to have passed away, we will give them a proper burial.
It's not easy to survive out here. I mean,
We figured.
no offense to you, but if I were you, I would expect for them to be dead. Truthfully.
You wanted to show me some tricks, you called them?
Yes, I did. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. So, firstly, the thing you should know about weirds is that everybody has an element they sort of vibe more than any other.
Are we talking about the four primal elements like air, fire, water, and thunder, or are we talking about an expanded spectrum like sound, light?
Darkness.
Darkness! No, not really. She explains the air, the water, the earth, fire, the thunder and lightning in the air. All of this.
Life itself, perhaps?
I add into this and I say, why do you think it was so easily taught to me how to ignite someone?
It's a primal element. You heat things up, they combust.
So the first thing we have to do is figure out what your element is. And I know just the test. She goes over to a nearby tree and she takes one of the leaves off. So here's what you have to do. I want you to imagine a sort of like flow, like a river, all around you. And the river is flowing into you, down your arms, and out of your fingers.
Not hard to imagine. I basically see the rivers.
And she hands you the leaf.
I hold the leaf at both ends with thumb and index and try to direct this weird feeling that I had since I emerged from the water and try to sort of push it into the direction of my fingertips.
Okay, now here's my question. Do you want to decide your affinity yourself, or do you want to do it randomly?
Up to you.
Random it
Okay,
is.
we'll do it randomly.
I knew
so-
it.
So 1 will be fire, 2 will be water, 3 will be air, 4 will be earth. Alright?
What about 5 and 6?
Trying to think.
Lightning.
Yeah, lightning. We can make 5 lightning.
And 6 will be life itself.
Oh.
Sure, yeah, life. So roll a 6-sided die for me.
Oh boy, I want a 6.
Watch, and you get 2.
I mean, you don't have to assign each one a different role. You can just say
You got a 3.
You can say 1 to 2 is fire, 3 to 4 is
Yeah.
water.
Hang it is.
Congratulations, Othello. You're an airbender.
Oh, that's
Fuck
terrible.
you.
The last airbender. No. Anyways,
The last Othello bender.
Anyways, so you allow the energy sort of flow through you, and you feel the leaf just become very light, like almost weightless, in fact. And you let go of the leaf, and it just floats upward. No breeze or anything; it just goes up. So that's it. Your element is air. Nice.
I would have guessed gravity, but maybe I'm thinking too complicated there.
So with things like air, you can move around really quickly. And I've even heard stories of people who've had this particular affinity. They can get so strong that they can actually...
Actually, what?
They can actually what?
fly. They can fly through the air almost. I've never seen it, but I've heard stories about it.
I look over at B and I ask, "What the fire affinity? What's their peak feature?"
Well, they burn something until it just doesn't exist anymore. Flame that intense is just incredible. It doesn't even leave ashes, or so they say.
You mean like white fire?
I mean, like fire you can't even see. Maybe because it doesn't exist.
Invisible fire.
I shake my head. I'm like, not invisible fire. It's so hot it doesn't have a color.
Just like your eyes.
Can I add just a made-up story?
Sure.
In one of our training camps, B, we had one white eye who was particularly skilled with fire. He was an eagle lad. But there was something that only now makes sense. One day he just vanished out of his cell. Not a trace, nothing. There wasn't anything left of him. We thought he just escaped Do you think what I'm thinking?
No, it doesn't sound like it was a very happy ending for.
If this fire you're talking about is really so hot, at least he had a quick ending.
Anyways, so, here's an idea. So, picture the flow through you again, and this time, direct it to your feet, and then jump.
Is this music fitting?
Very.
He just stands there, takes a quick deep breaths. And as he feels this little, almost tingling sensation, like when your foot falls asleep and it wakes up again, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
As soon as he feels this, he just goes down to a squat and leaps.
Alright, and you leap very, very high up in the I'll say at least 15 feet, straight up. And then it's at that point you realize, oh shit, I'm falling. And you fall
Oh no.
right back down and you just like splat against the ground. Not hurting yourself.
This deserves a roll.
No, I'm just gonna allow it.
No,
Okay.
no.
So you just splat against the ground. You don't hurt yourself, but you're like, ugh.
He lies on the ground. He basically fell onto his stomach. He turns around to lie on his back and just laughs.
That was pretty good for a first time. Hey, maybe you were meant to be one of us all along.
I clap for Othello, and I say, hey, I have an idea.
And just as you guys were talking to me, this laughter that just sounded like a little kid getting his favorite thing for his Christmas present. This laughter almost turns almost a tad like a maniac. Like he can't even believe.
The music does fit. Ha! I look to Othello as he's laughing and say, hey, I have an idea.
What? Tell me.
See if you can make a tornado of sorts, a small one.
He stands up and takes another deep breath, still smiling. And he thinks about how B was telling him that the river is just flowing around him, and he tries to get this river to flow a bit faster, just in a circle around him.
Alright, for this one I'm gonna have you make a intelligence roll.
Intelligence.
A learning roll, whatever.
Yeah.
I get a +1.
It's a maneuver, motherfucker. Mm-hmm.
The last one was a maneuver as well, but I just allowed you to have that one.
Okay, /roll 1d20 +1. 19.
Oh, shit. Alright, so describe the whirlwind that you kick up.
Basically, it picks up as a small breeze, and shortly after it starts to pick up leaves, and at the bottom even a little bit of dirt, but it doesn't go far. About at the height of his knees, it just starts to scatter around the dirt, while the leaves even get up to 2 meters.
It's like 6 feet.
Mm,
Is it around him or around some, or is it, or what?
around him. Pretty close. There's about half a feet away from him. Around
Alright.
him.
As you're doing
So-
that, Elena speaks up again. It's like, try to move it away from around you. I don't want to cook you alive now.
He tries to direct it away from himself, but it's basically. But he still is pretty new to this, so it basically ends up like a stream of air away from him.
It's just a leaf blower.
just basically sending a barrage of leaves into B's direction.
Alright, she sort of like buffers herself. It's like, what are you doing?
Alright, as, so Elena's going to use a fire that isn't particularly dangerous.
Okay.
Like, it's low heat fire,
Oh.
basically.
Okay.
And she's gonna kind of, like, just make the tornado just kind of ignite in a way.
Okay.
Yeah,
give me
Barrage, the only person that helps us with flaming leaves. That will help.
Alright, so
I mean, she's... No, I
for
mean,
the sake of this, I'm going to say that B steps out of the tornado barrage thing. So go ahead and give me a learn roll, Elena.
what am I rolling?
Intelligence plus any skill you have.
Intelligence is 3. And skills. Oh, and magic. So what? That's a 6?
Yep,
Plus 6? Okay.
sounds good.
What did I miss?
All right, so you infuse
So
some of the heat.
that's a crit.
You infuse the heat into the burst of air, and it's just like a flamethrower, basically. It just... It actually ends up, like, scorching the bark, one of the nearby trees. Othello, I'm going to say that you're so surprised by this that actually, like, stop the flow of air, and it sort of dies out. You guys have just created a cooperative maneuver together.
Nice.
You can call this whatever you want, just know that that's what it is.
Flame surge.
Sure. And that's something that only you two know how to do. Not that you can't learn how to do with other people, but that's something that you two only learn how to do.
And I think it would, just suggestion, I would make it scale towards the relationship between the two characters.
We'll talk about that.
Yes.
B explains also, you can use other elements as well, but we can just let that horse lay where it is. I have something I have to go do. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
What did I miss?
They were just doing like pretty much a training session. Nothing much. You didn't mix a whole lot.
Wait,
He created a like a mini tornado, basically, just not as powerful.
He looks at Val with a big smile on his face, which, in the combination with the glowing red eyes, kind of looks a bit menacing.
Okay, I definitely feel jealous. I chug the water.
oh my god, really?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, he feels really jealous.
I feel really jealous. Now I'm going to drink this poison.
I don't want to be the one left out.
Hey, real quick.
Sorry, what?
1 second. I'll just send you a message real quick.
Alright.
Who?
Just sending Val a message.
Okay, I send it to you, Val.
Okay, so how do you want to like work out of not doing this thing?
I mean, we can just say you didn't do it.
Well, okay, I unscrew the cap like really fast and someone stops me.
Sure.
Like, I don't know, maybe the thief?
Elena looks over and just goes like,
Actually, no.
Are you
I know
sure
the
you
perfect
wanted-
person. I know the perfect person to stop you.
The raider?
No.
Okay.
Escalon. He sees what you're about to do, and he just, like, grabs your hand.
Just
And he shakes
slams
his
the
head.
bottle down.
And he just shakes his head. You'll have your chance to gain your own power. Something different. All your own.
Water spills all over the ground a bit. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Reminds me of that time I saw someone drink poison and then tried to do it.
I just wanted to see what happened.
Well, you know.
Anyways, Escalon, he gathers your attention. He's like, come with me for a moment.
Okay.
He brings you to just outside of the village to where you're alone now. Everything that the chief told you is true. I am a demon of sorts.
Explains the amber eyes.
Oh, I just
Indeed.
figured you were just one of the grifters.
Well, I do drift, in a way.
No, he said grifter, but okay.
Oh. I thought. We'll just go with it, so yeah.
Grifter, I wanted to say, is like maybe what Sandfalls calls it.
Gotcha. I'm what you call a shade. I'm a person that died and came back, just as the chief told you.
I sometimes feel like I've died, but apparently I haven't, you say.
I have an idea. Let me guess. It took you some time to revive, so you wear those bandages because you're a bit
No, I thought you only took
Well,
me.
rotten?
No. I wear these bandages because my identity must remain a lost.
If you are my grandpa, I swear to God.
No, I'm not your grandfather.
That reminds me of a story of a
Thank
man
God.
named Ishmael. I know.
Anyways,
Oh, go ahead.
I can offer a power. Unfortunately, Elena, Othello, I cannot offer it to you. It's incompatible with your abilities as weird. But for you, Machine, I can.
The music just fits perfectly.
right?
If you're willing to make a promise,
Depends, what is it?
that you will trust my judgment.
How do I know that your judgment isn't for the best of mine?
Well, I don't want you dead. I rescued you from prison, after all.
I mean, you're not a member of Lalelu or anything that I know of.
God damn it.
The lolly-loo-la-loo.
Nani?
Oh, no, not at all. He seems very suspicious as he denies that allegation.
And apparently, they're... So how do I know you're not, for example, working with the communist?
Well,
Damn it.
why don't you ask Othello? The ship that I came in on was one of theirs, and I slaughtered its entire crew. You think if I were their ally, I would do such a thing?
Maybe. Communists seem to
You
kill
think
people
if I were
a
their
lot.
ally, I would ally myself with you? Or that I would rescue you from prison, the one man who all of their plans?
Thinking about how he slaughtered the crew, he gets an idea for a maneuver. He keeps it in the back of his head for now.
So then, will you take a promise?
That I will trust your judgment is judgment.
Huh?
What's up?
No, I didn't quite hear what he said.
That I will trust that your judgment is valid.
Yes. That I won't lead you astray. That I have your best interests at heart.
I still don't know what you want, though.
As I've said before, I want for this war to end. And as I've also said before, you are essential in that happening.
I guess.
Very well. He outstretches his hand towards you.
I grab his wrist and shake his hand.
Alright. And a sort of weight comes over your body. And you feel different. And as you look at Escalon and Elena and Othello, you notice something beginning to apparate around their bodies. This sort of like smoke almost. And then you look at your own being and you notice it coming off of you as well. Different sort of colors and different sorts of feels from this aura sort of just assault your sense once. It doesn't like hurt, but it's almost like trying to look at the sun.
Am I paralyzed?
No, you're not paralyzed, you're just like, oh wow.
Okay, so my character doesn't think they just got poisoned.
Nah, you don't think you got poisoned, but you're like, whoa, just happened?
Yeah.
And actually, that's where I'd like to end.
Would you
Y'all
like to
cool
end
with
what
that?
where?
That's where I would like to end this session at. Those
Okay.
two. Alright. So, I'm just going to close that window. Alright, so, let's talk for a moment. Are we done recording, by the way, Val?
I mean, I'm still am.
Huh?
I still have it recording, why?
We don't need to record the after session. It's not necessary.
Alright.
Unless you want to. I mean, it's up to you. It's your